Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, let's go. Kevin here, Top 1 Financial Advisor and best-selling author. We are here to talk about the stock market. Today, I want to walk you through a 4-step, 4-question process to help clarify a lot of your investing decisions, especially if you are a beginner. But before we do, I have another announcement. I'm gonna need you to go and go like this video, go watch this video. It was a fun project that I got to do last month. And here's the thing, I said it was really cool. I didn't say anything about it. This is that. So I got to answer a bunch of money questions for Wired, which is really fun on a show or series they call Tech Support. But this is the money version of it. So go check it out. It's a really fun video. But watch it after this. All right, so back to our regularly scheduled programming. The 4 questions that you need to kind of write these down if you need to, put these in your wallet, have a calendar invite if you have to. These are things that I think can help clarify your investing decisions and obviously make you a better investor. And I'll go through some personal examples on how I've used this and how it's worked for me, as well as why I have each of these things included here. The first thing, as always, really is, what is your goal? What are you looking to do through investing? There are a bunch of different reasons why people invest. Some, especially for me, it's generational wealth, it's long-term wealth, it's retirement, it's being able to travel and do the things that I want to do. Is it for you trying to supplement your income? Are you trying to be a dividend investor so you can leave your job and have your dividends pay for that? Are you trying to make a whole bunch of money tomorrow? That's a thing that some people want to do. Now, is that easy to do? Is that safe to do? That depends, right? However, your goal is going to help you to narrow down what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. So if you told me that I want to make as much money as possible by the end of this week, then there aren't a whole bunch of options for you. Or rather, a better way of saying this is Coca-Cola is probably not the best investment for you. Coca-Cola is a slow, boring company that gets decent returns and solid dividends. So if you told me that you were looking to build long-term wealth and get a solid dividend, yeah, Coca-Cola makes a lot of sense. One of Warren Buffett's favorite stocks, and you hold that bad boy for 10, 15 years, you're gonna be all right. That's not tomorrow though. If you're trying to make money tomorrow, then you're gonna have to look for a stock that's a lot more volatile. You're gonna take on a whole bunch more risk. But again, your goals are gonna tell me that. It's really gonna tell you that, and that's how you kind of mark things off of your list that work and don't work. It also helps you choose the right investing accounts. Again, you told me you're trying to make money tomorrow. A 401k is not where that happens. That is a long-term wealth building account, okay? A 401k is not an investment, it's just an account, but it's used for long-term wealth. You can't get rich tomorrow and pull out the money and do anything because you're gonna get hit with penalties and taxes there. So that's not the best place for you to do it. If you're trying to get rich tomorrow, you're going to need a regular brokerage account or some other machinations put together to do that. So decide what it is your goal is. Decide what you're trying to do, and then start to eliminate certain choices to narrow things down. That's the first thing. The second thing is, how much money are you willing to put into these things? Now, generally speaking, for me, and this is a textbook rule here, if you're investing in individual stocks, even individual cryptocurrencies, you want to try and limit it to 5% or less of your total portfolio. Okay, the reason why you do this is, number one, it allows you to diversify. So if everything is capped at 5%, I can have an upward to 20 different stocks, which is a lot to manage. I don't necessarily think that everybody needs to have 20 different companies. However, giving yourself that 5% cap does protect you in some ways. There are going to be some investments where it just doesn't work out. Okay, and you can afford, if you've got 20 different stocks, or if you have your money pushed really heavy into index funds, which most people should, if you do that, then you can take that loss. It's not going to freak you out. It's not going to be the worst thing in the world, and you can still push on. Now, if you told me you put 100% of your money in one single stock, that would be a bit of a concern depending on what it is you're investing in. An example from my own personal portfolio, you can scroll back on Instagram. This was December of 2021. I said, look, I'm getting out of Square. Square changed their name to Block. It's doing a whole bunch of stuff. I wasn't a fan of it, and I think, if I remember correctly, I was down anywhere between 30 to 50%. It was bad. But I said, look, I got up Disney too. I said, hey, I'm out of this. That's 5% for Disney, 5% for Square. I'm out. Okay, I'm done with it. And I look today, I think year to date, over the past year, Square is down like 78%. 78%. I'm glad I got out when I did and took the loss that I didn't like taking, but got out, right? And even if I did hold it, I mean, it's only 5%, which, you know, losing 78% or whatever it was to 5% is still bad, but at least it didn't crater my entire investment. I would be extremely stressed if 50% of my money was in a company like that. Now, the opposite thing here is, oh, it's great if things work, right? If you had Enphase, which we're going to talk about on tomorrow, if you had Enphase or any company that does well, you have half your money there, that always works out great. But that is not always reality. You're going to make a mistake. You want to minimize those mistakes because it can certainly set you back financially. You want to make sure that you can grow your portfolio, that you can weather storms like 2022 and continue going through this process without taking as many lumps and taking as many bumps. The 5% rule is one way to do that. Now, I'll say this. It does not necessarily apply to index funds. For those that don't know, because, you know, you may be having somebody who's new and liking and subscribing. An index fund is an investment that holds several stocks together in one specific package. I like to say it's the difference between owning one team like the Lakers versus owning the entire NBA. That is what an index fund is. So it doesn't matter which team is best. I have the entire thing. That is an index fund. There is no 5% rule there. If you want to put 90% of your money there, or even 60% of your money there, depending on what your age is and what your goals are, that definitely makes sense. But individual stocks, individual cryptocurrencies, you want to be a lot more careful about how much money you are putting in there and why. Okay? All right, so the next one here is, why is it a winner? So when you are investing in something, I'm pretty sure that you believe that that thing is a winner, that is an investment that's going to make you money. I don't know many people who walk into things and, hey, I'm going to lose money and I'm going to put money into this anyway. I don't think that's how most people operate. I think most of us believe, whether they've done a whole bunch of research or not, that this is going to work out for them. That's all fine. You need to answer the question, why is it a winner? What about this company? What about this crypto coin, if you will? Why? Why is it supposed to do well? Now, in other videos, we've talked about investing context and all that stuff makes sense. This still applies. It's almost the exact same thing. But you have to have an answer for it, and a solid answer. Don't give me, well, it just went up over the last 6 or 7 months. Like, I mean, that's good. That's great. That's one thing to check off, but that's not necessarily a guarantee. If you'd ask me about any single thing that I have in my portfolio, whether it's T-Mobile, like, I know exactly why I'm holding T-Mobile and why it is doing well and why I would expect that to continue over the short-term future, right? If you ask me about Amazon, if you ask me about Microsoft or anything that I hold, there is a reason as to why, and it's based on my research. If you can't answer that question in terms of why you have it, then you it might not end well. You can get lucky, but you want to make sure that you have a process that you can repeat, right? That's the purpose here. Is when you start to follow this framework and you're using these rules, you can add more to it if you choose. You want to have something that you can just copy and paste and start to build on that success. So you have to know why something is doing well, why you expect something to do well, and that way, when you test it and you invest in something, if it works, great, you can do it again. If it doesn't work, hey, didn't work, we're going to do something different. Which brings us into our last question. What if it's not? What if it's a loser? And what do you need to do? It is extremely important for a few reasons. Number one, you want to have this in the beginning, in the very beginning, because one of the most common questions I get is, well, when do I get out? I'm down X%. When do I get out? I can't tell you. I don't know what your goals were. I don't know how much money you had in it. You need to define why you think something is going to go well, and if it doesn't, have that exit strategy before you invest. Okay, you got to have that in advance. So for me, and y'all know how this works. After 6 months, I come back and reevaluate, and if it is a loser, if it doesn't beat the S&P 500 and it doesn't beat its peers, and it is the lowest of the low, then it has to go. That's my rule. Okay, so to me, it's, I believed in this stock because of X reasons. I think it's going to do well. I gave it 6 months to do well, and if it didn't, then it has to go. Or I can say, look, I think it's on the right track. I'm going to hold it for another 6 months and then come back and reevaluate. That's just what I do. I give things time to play out and to reevaluate and to make investing decisions. That's how I do it. But you need to decide for yourself, before you get into something, if this is a losing stock, if this is a losing company, I'm going to get out. Is that a price number for you? If it goes below a certain point, if it goes below a certain percentage, what is that going to be for you? You have to sit down and decide what that is. But it's going to help you to not make rash decisions, because when you write all this stuff down, my goal is to make money over the next 10 years. And you say, I think that this stock is going to do well because of X, Y, and Z, and whatever it is that you read and believe for that company. And then you say, I'm only going to sell, or if this is a loser, if this thing happens. And the stock market opens tomorrow, market drops, worst day since, I don't know, 2020. And you look back at your rules, and you look back and say, well, I lost money today, but it's not at my target. If it's a loser, according to my rules, it's not there yet, right? So I'm going to hold on and wait until I have specifically designated the time and place in which I'm going to sell something, right? You have to have some process, and these 4 questions can help you do that. So again, 4 questions very quickly. What is the goal? Okay, what is the goal? How much of it do you want to own? Why is it supposed to be a winner, and what if it is a loser? How are you going to approach that process? I'll also say too that if it's a loser now, if you get into something, again, I own into it, and it ain't doing all that great right now. I had Target. Target wasn't doing well, and Target's gone through a number of struggles. I let go of Target based on my rules, right? I said, you had 6 months. You didn't do it. It's time for me to get out. And it was doing significantly worse than Walmart, than Dollar Tree, than Dollar General, and others, right? So I had a complete process as to why we would let it go. But when we talk about that goal, right? If you told me that my goal is to have X amount in 10 years, I'm probably not going to make a decision off of just 6 months by itself. Right? You always want to weigh these things compared to your goals. The problem here is that, or not as a problem, but a question just for all of us here is, we can't determine your goals for you. I cannot tell you what your goals should be. You have to sit down and figure out what's going to work for you, and use these questions to kind of fit in like Lego blocks to tell you what makes sense and what doesn't make sense, and start to practice and use that. This is what millionaire investors do all the time, is they have a process that works, a process that's repeatable. The entire book behind me, The Intelligent Investor, is all about having that process, and you know, it's in way more pages than this one little note card that I have here. But in either case, you've got to have something like that. Okay, that is what you need to have. Those 4 questions are a great starting point. Figure out what your goal is. Figure out why something is supposed to win. What happens if it doesn't win? That backup plan, the exit strategy, and then how much money do you want to dedicate to that one thing? So for me, I told you I got the 5% rule. That's for me. I try to give things 6 months at a minimum before I come back and reevaluate and decide whether or not it's a loser. And I always have my 3-step research process, which you can just Google, YouTube, Building Bread investing process. I have several videos on what I use to research and how I go through that research process. In fact, I did a full research video inside the members only as well, and this was recorded I think last week, so you can see my entire research process on how I make these decisions. So that is what you want to use to help clarify your investment decision, is just those 4 questions, and that will steer you more often than not in the right direction. All right, you got your homework. Okay, you got your homework. You're gonna go and watch the Wired video about the tech support, money support that I did with them. You've got your homework for watching the research video here as well, and you have the members only link. I think that video is inside the members only, so you'll make sure you check that out. All right, that is it for me. We're gonna cover Enphase tomorrow. If you have any other questions that you want me to cover, that you want me to explain, feel free to put that in the comments below. All right, that's it for me. Talk to you later. Bye.